Hi everybody, welcome to the QB School. I am JT O'Sullivan. Today, a little bit of a special edition. We're talking favorite drills for quarterbacks, wide receivers. It's the off season. How do we get better? We are diving into it. Fired up. Let's get it going. Welcome to the QB School. So the genesis for this video comes from my man Lockdown16 as a receiver, corner, player. I still love your videos and love your content. My QB is the one that put me onto your channel, LOL. We were wondering if anyone knows of drills for us to improve together when it's just him and I practicing, besides the usual run through, tree route together, and film. Anything would be helpful. Lockdown16, excellent question. And as for anyone, how about yours truly? Fired up for this one for a few different things. One, love the offseason. Love the offseason for a number of different reasons. Hopefully you're playing other sports. If you're not and you're just doing this, or as we get into the summer or true kind of football offseason, everyone should be out there doing routes on air. Now I'm going to push you probably a little bit out of your normal comfort level for what you're doing routes on air with the as far as the route tree. But for me, I'll use my own kind of anecdotal experience here. Used to love to go out there with my favorite wide receivers, and be able to get this. But it's only you and the quarterback. I think you can really kind of elevate each other's game by being able to go out there and execute the route tree at a really high level. And so, for instance, what I used to do in college specifically, go out there with one of my good buddies who played wide receiver. We would run through the route tree, and we would try to do it where no balls would hit the ground. And so the other thing we would add is that as we got better and better, and really years of being in college together, we would be able to go through the entire route tree on the perimeter as the outside wide receiver and the interior slot receiver, not talk. So we wouldn't say like, hey, you got a slant here, you got a hook here, you got a quick out here. We just knew what the pattern was because we'd done it so many times. For the outside, the inside, we would go to the field and we would go to the boundary, the wide side and the short side. We'd rotate every day. We wouldn't do one of each. And then we would flip it and do it from the right and do it on the left. So really it's 4 trees because you're going outside and inside on both sides. And we only ever, so over the course of, I'm going to say, being generous, 3 years, it could have been 4 years of doing this every summer, many days. We only had 2 days when the ball did not touch the ground. Okay, so those were special days, and we also did it with what I'm really going to finish this video with the special drills that I like that are beyond the route tree. And so just quickly kind of through the route tree, it's really simple. It's probably very similar to how many people do the tree. It is just like a one-step hitch, a normal hitch, 5-yard hitch, slant, quick out, hook, normal speed out, short in, the mid-trajectory, intermediate throws, and then the deeper throws, a glance, a go, a big post, potentially a flag or circus, whatever you run as an outbreaking route or comeback at that deeper depth. Then you work into the slot and you really do the same things. So maybe a flat, a stick, an option route, a one-step slant, potentially on how you do your double slant from the slot. Then you get up to like the choice routes, deeper options, 10-yard outs, 10-yard in, hunt route, basic, whatever. And then you get to the post, the seam, the corner, and then you flip it over and you do it to the opposite side. And so if you can get through that and not have the ball touch the ground, I think you're operating at a pretty high level. We certainly really celebrated on the days where the ball didn't touch the ground. I can remember it vividly out there in the hot Davis summers, but I had a blast doing it. I thought it got both of us significantly better. Now, for the answer that you're actually really trying to get to, what are the drills beyond the route tree that I personally really liked, or I think hopefully other people add stuff that they like and do in the comments of this video. But the 2 that I really loved were essentially scramble drills. And so you as the wide receiver would go line up in whatever you run the most of. So say you play the slot and you love running 10-yard outs from the slot. We'll go stand at the end of that 10-yard out, have your quarterback go through the read, get flush from the pocket, and then you just can do whatever you want. So you can go back, you can go deep, you can go up, you can go to the sideline, you can come down, and you guys can just start getting on the same page as far as what that looks like speed-wise, velocity, touch, what it looks like spacing-wise to make sure you're lined up correctly. I will add the little tricks of the trade here for the scramble drill. If you're the wide receiver, make sure your feet never go into the tracks. So there's that little hash on the sideline. You want to use that as kind of a benchmark for make sure your feet don't touch, so that the ball, if the ball drifts wide, you can catch it and get your feet down. And so just little things like that. But I loved that drill because I felt like it got me to be able to gauge the speed of the guys I was going to throw with. And we just got to feel a sense of being able to read body language and get really high level reps in kind of a free form, like recessy environment. So you do that like from the middle of the field, then you do the exact same drill and push it down into the red area. You can get all the way down to like the 5, but I think it's really useful from like the 20 in. So get a couple reps at the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5, all the way to the goal line to be able to understand the space, the timing, where the ball needs to get up and down, and just get on the same page. So that was probably my favorite drill to be able to incorporate with just 2 people, one specifically being a quarterback and the other being the wide receiver. And then finally, depending on what scheme you're in, if maybe you can ask your coach, but whatever you think your like game-winning play will be to rep that as much as possible, to rep it in and out of structure. So get down to the goal line, say you need a 2-point play to win. Okay, what would be your 2-point play to win? Maybe it's throwing a goal line fade, hopefully not. Maybe it's throwing a corner, maybe it's a slant, maybe it's some sort of option route, maybe it's a sprint out. For us, when we were in college, we really practiced the old school Dwight Clark, the catch. And so my wide receiver would line up on the outside. He'd fake like he's running an in along the back line of the end zone. Once he like crossed the numbers area, a little past the numbers, he'd put his foot on the ground and come back out to the corner. So he's running basically kind of an in along the back line. You want to run that in along the top of the logo, put your foot in the ground, come back out to the corner, and the quarterback's going to be on the run, moving to whatever his dominant throwing side is, and leave that ball up high, depending on what your ups look like, anywhere between 9, 11 feet. Go up and get it, make a great play, and get your feet down. And so to practice that throw, we practice it a significant amount. It came up not quite to him, not quite in that same structure, but it certainly came up a number of times, whether it was in practice or in games, to be able to have the confidence to rep that game-winning type throw that you've repped a number of times. So again, in recap, challenge yourself on the route tree, have the ball not hit the ground, make sure you're going outside, inside, both ways. Then do the scramble drill and do it both ways, and do the scramble drill out in the field and in a condensed area in the red area. And then finally finish with some game-winning throws. And then hopefully that game-winning throws allows you to extend the play to have a little bit of a scramble element built into that as well. So absolutely outstanding question. Do me a favor, if you watch this and you have additional drills that you think are great, leave them in the comments. As always, I appreciate the continued support. I will see you next time. Have a good one.